Welcome back to A People's Guide to Publishing. I'm Joe Beal, the founder and CEO of Microcosm Publishing and Distribution. I'm also the author of A People's Guide to Publishing, which distills what I've learned from selling millions of books over the past 25 years.
I'm Ellie Blue. I'm the editorial and marketing director here at Microcosm. We are an independent mid-list publisher based in Portland, Oregon. We have 14 employees, over 650 titles in print with 20 to 40 new books per year, and we distribute thousands of titles from other publishers.
We started this podcast so that we can share what we've learned with newer publishers so that you can learn from our mistakes.
Or maybe you just want to understand the publishing industry.
This week we are going to talk about the day in the life of a publisher and a vice president of marketing looks like.
Sorry, that's the vice president of heinous paperwork to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you had been promoted.
Well, the more paperwork you do in publishing, the higher up you are, the more boring your job is. How did your morning start yesterday?
I began my day by I have to reconcile our bank account against our online bank account. And just to make sure our records match their records, because they do make mistakes sometimes. And more importantly, that process is to make sure we have enough money so checks don't bounce during leaner times, and then during more bountiful times to evaluate when we are hiring more people, when we give raises, when we give bonuses, and to schedule bill paying and the like. So that's normally the first part of my morning, and then, I take a little look at, what orders are in the pipe just to see if there's anything, shocking or exciting.
So we've been talking about doing this episode for a while, and there hasn't really been a day that felt representative.
Because none of them are typical.
Yeah, we decided we couldn't wait, because there is no typical day in publishing, at least not in our life.
My day began by completing 5 pages of paperwork, heinous, though I don't get that title in my job description,
You should have delegated.
For the bank, which was mostly paperwork about myself, oddly enough, which was made it particularly cryptic, and then scanning that paperwork to return it to them, which they still haven't responded to confirm even. And then I embark upon my magnum opus, which is reconciling the stock report to the reorders. And that's comparing how many we sold of something in the past 24 hours, what time frame of inventory we have left, and then scheduling reorders based on that.
This all happens before I wake up.
And that can take me anywhere from 30 seconds to... There's been days where it's been 16 hours of work because we had a really busy day. And then, what was your morning like?
Well, I started out my morning, normally I start out my morning by planning my day, and I look at my task list, which is usually ballooned in the last 24 hours, but today I started by checking the progress of our Kickstarter project, which has 1 day left to go, and I noticed that a backer on another project had requested an update. So I started by writing that update and being like, hey, you should have all gotten your rewards by now, email Squishy if you haven't, and 3 people immediately did, so then I fielded Squishy's emails. And then I have 35 minutes right down on my little time tracker for just planning my day. But honestly, that was opening up my task list and then getting an email and then getting a Slack message. So I would say that is, kind of general communication. Also, I read shelf awareness. Mm-hmm. And then I did a bunch of product data management. I checked some things we had uploaded to Fair, which is one of our gift distributors. We had the pallets come yesterday.
A lot of that sort of back and forth communication with things on those issues. I'm training a few new people sort of casually as they run into things they don't know, and other people that have shifting job duties where they have questions, or, sometimes people even that have done a job for a long time, 7 days a week.
When I woke up yesterday, you were in the midst of working with an author on their cover design.
Oh.
You may have forgotten already. Anyway.
Which,
It was on Bang.
Oh, yeah. And that, right, and that was another thing that I did yesterday, was, we got that to print. We did some chit-chat. We did some revisions, we worked out some production issues, turning some, there was some spot colors in the design that should have been process colors. Really exciting stuff.
Man, your days are packed with fun and drama.
It's like a party in my computer.
So then we came to work, and the first thing I did at work was check my email, which maybe I shouldn't have, but then I spent, like, it looks like I wrote this all down, otherwise I won't remember, but I spent the first 20 minutes just responding to emails, mostly from authors, and a few also troubleshooting issues that our staff had on our website.
Yeah. Yeah, I do a lot of that kind of thing too, where people are like, I can't find the last copy of this, or, what is going on with this? When are we getting that letter so we can mail out our catalogs to all the bookstores? What is the situation with this item? Answering many author inquiries. We actually had 3 different books coming out this season where the authors are handling various aspects of their production. So, that's means that I have to create barcodes for their books and put those on our little barcode layout and export those and send them files and give them the Library of Congress data block and send them all the various text to include and where to include it. And doing that with 3 people in a row is remarkably time consuming. And, as is just in general coordinating, I had to coordinate a special project with the printer because it has magnets in it, so I had to figure out
how does it work,
where those are. So there's a foil on the cover, which is it's a little different than a metallic ink. It's a little more noticeable, a little more expensive, and apparently there are literally hundreds of foil options that you can choose from. So, and that's not exactly the kind of, I can't photograph it and send it to the designer.
Right.
I can't, I can't, I can describe it, I guess, but working those kinds of things out. Is that palette coming in, that kind of thing, where most of that information is publicly available, but once it starts to get weird, for example, we ordered printing a letter 9 days ago and it didn't arrive, so that's about the point when people are like, please help.
Lots of little things. Then I kind of hunkered down for a while and worked on the Kickstarter project that we're running. I corresponded with the authors of the project about their bios and about promotion, and I wrote some updates for other projects letting them know about this one, and I made some copy edits to the project itself because it was launched rather hastily. It's going really well though. Thanks for asking.
25% day one. That was pretty good. Or 24%, but whatever. We have a rounding error.
I then spent an hour working on book descriptions for our fall 2021 season, writing them, workshopping them with the authors, workshopping them with other editors who were working on theirs. That was pretty fun. Only get to do that once a year, or twice a year.
And I uploaded all the books we reordered yesterday, and then we had a bunch of new books that come out in the fall that we put up the covers for because those were just finished being designed, and then doing those revisions on some other covers for the fall, and it's a lot of back and forth kind of things, and then looking at what we're expecting to receive in the next few weeks, which there's always quite a bit of.
We have a new batch of interns coming in, so I met with 2 of them today they'd already been onboarded by Sydney, who's our intern manager, but I talked to them about our editorial and marketing departments and got a sense of what they were interested in and what their skill level was, and got them some assignments, got them hooked up with expectations and deadlines and exhortations of critical thinking and
proclamations. Yeah,
it was a lot of me, laying down the law, just being ask when you need help. And in between doing that, I worked on making our product data better because there were some books about crystals that was really hard to tell apart in our data, and now you can tell them apart.
Beautiful. And we had a couple legacy projects that have been finished in editorial but haven't moved into production yet just because we've been so busy through 2020 that they've been just sitting on my hard drive. And I finally packaged one of them up for an intern to do the pre-press work on all the photographs and to do a lot of the basic layout work and to learn how much fun all that is.
And then we met with Sydney.
Oh, yeah. true.
That was fun. A little Zoom meeting. Mm-hmm. We used to see each other in person, but
soon, once again.
Not anymore. Mm-hmm. After that, I worked on managing the data on one of the third-party selling platforms that we work with. Mm-hmm. I got a little... 2 days ago, I had a meeting with somebody who works there to help us use it more strategically. So now I just have a lot of work to do to make our page even better.
Now you have a lot of work to do. Got it.
Now I have even more work to do. It's so true. But then all of this was like, I like say these discrete things that I did, but like every 5 minutes it seemed like somebody was slacking me and being like, is this right? How do I do this? Where's this?
Right.
I need to start muting my notifications for longer periods of time.
Mm-hmm. I just make up for that by only looking at it every few hours.
See, yeah, that's the smart thing to do.
Though that does tend to result in people then sending Ellie a message asking her to ask me that question, which is not a great workaround either.
I've pretty much taken that out. I've pretty much squashed that bug by just saying no. Mm-hmm. That was, I don't know, is there anything else that you did yesterday?
Oh, there's so many more little things. It's like all I do is little things all day long.
Piles up.
And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little things where I'm just like fixing little production mistakes or, tinkering just a little bit and, sending out inquiries. Asked Jane Friedman to push this podcast out into the universe because she reposted an article I wrote about distribution for book publishers that came out a few years ago. And, we got some very flattering, positive remarks about this podcast on Twitter. So thank you, Twitter.
Yay.
And, but yeah, engaging a little bit with all that and just, seeing what the scuttlebutt is and, what the... I do read the publishing news and keep tabs on all that stuff too, because occasionally it's interesting.
Oh yeah, I read Shelf Awareness. That was probably part of my planning my day. I also spent 10 minutes and 9 seconds writing a letter to a customer who had asked for specific book recommendations. Mm-hmm. And that was fun.
I used to do all that, but now my brain just is too full, so I have to push all that out on other people.
What was what are you most proud of, or what was the biggest thing that you accomplished yesterday?
I think it was the fact that, when we got here, the one thing I intended to do was to create the production notes for the Tarot deck that we're producing. And I started it the minute I sat down at my desk. And I finished it literally the minute I got up to leave for the day. So,
dang.
And that was because there were so many interruptions. I did not spend 8 hours on that, but maybe I spent an hour looking at the notes and looking at the, the color builds and the swatches and all that. But it was, it's just, the problem of being me is that everybody wants my attention. So it's hard to actually buckle in on like focused tasks.
I would say the biggest thing I accomplished yesterday was, the literally 7 minutes that I spent troubleshooting the payment system on our website and writing to our payment operator about a bug.
Oh, you caught it. Nice.
Well, we'll see.
Theoretically.
They haven't written back yet.
Thanks for joining us once again.
Please send your questions to podcast@microcosmpublishing.com so we can answer them on future episodes.
And please give us 5 stars on iTunes and everywhere else that podcasts are reviewed.
You can find us on the internet at microcosm.pub.
On Twitter at Microcosm.
On Facebook at Microcosm Publishing.
On Instagram at Microcosm_pub.
And here in Portland, Oregon on North Williams Avenue.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful week.